Finally, the hype has finally died down for the DIY Trinity rig, which means that I can pick up my gear and start filming and showing you guys how to use it properly again. I mean, it was just such a good rig that a lot of people started talking about it, but now it kind of died off, and that means I can actually start showing you bit by bit on how to put this thing together, how to properly use it, balance it. This is the nitty-gritty stuff that a lot of people don't cover in their videos. So this is actually back to the basics on how I learned how to stabilize my footage with manual stabilizers. So here's actually one of my first stabilizers. This is the Lang P-3 manual stabilizer. It's discontinued off the market, but if I do find it, I'll post some links in the description box below so you can check it out. Again, if not, I'll post something that's really close to it. It's carbon fiber, it's cheap, it's around 220 bucks when I bought it, and it has a long telescopic boom post, which actually means that you can add some invisible weight or some leverage without adding any physical weight, which makes balancing a lot easier. And I do recommend that you check out this video right here where I give you a quick rundown on how to set this thing up, but this is the longer version of that and just how to properly use this system. And by the way, for those of you who are wondering, this system is meant to add some extra stabilization to your gimbal videos. So this is definitely for those of you who are just struggling to get that smooth footage, or you just want something way more accurate, way more stable, then this is actually the rig for you. And we're gonna be using the Weebill S gimbal from Zhiyun. This is a small, powerful, portable gimbal, and it's exactly what I need to create this DIY Arri Trinity rig. Check me out at momentum_productions on Instagram because I do post a lot of BTS videos on these rigs. All right, let's get started. So let's go ahead and grab our manual stabilizer here. I'm going to lower my standing desk just so I can show you more of this thing. So you pick it up, you know, we have a traditional handheld gimbal right here. We have the top, we have the bottom, which is called the sled. Gimbal goes on top, weights go on the bottom, and we can loosen this up as so, and this extends, all right? Now the first thing I wanna do is grab my gimbal and mount it onto the top of the manual stabilizer. Taking out the base plate here just slides right out of the system, and then I'm just gonna attach it to the Weebill S here. I'm gonna make sure that the Weebill S is mounted on the center portion of that quick release plate. All right, now it's mounted. At this time, your axis locks should be turned on. That way nothing is moving around. And that's actually one of the major benefits of using the Weebill S gimbal, is that these axis locks are gonna help us out tremendously when balancing this DIY Arri Trinity rig. Just slide it right on, okay, lock it up. Now we're ready to mount our camera. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn off the axis locks, put it in its upright position, and now I'm going to mount on my camera. All right, so now that our camera is mounted on the gimbal, do not balance the gimbal yet. Make sure the axis locks are enabled, and then we are going to balance the rig as a whole before we actually balance the gimbal. Trust me, this is the best way to do it, and balancing the gimbal is pretty easy to do, so we're gonna do it after we balance this whole rig as a whole. All right, so all we're gonna do, we're gonna pick up the DIY Arri Trinity, just pick it up, hold it with one hand on the gimbal's handle, and see what happens. See, it flops over, which means that there's not enough weight at the top of the stabilizer. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna grab this extension pole, we're gonna extend it. Now there's different ways on how you can do this. You can add this leverage by extending the pole here, or you can add actual weights to the bottom, and that will just do the same thing. Now we're gonna pick it up and see what happens. Okay, it doesn't wanna flop over anymore, but now it wants to lean forward. So just like a gimbal, if this is the case, you wanna push the sled or the quick release plate back to counteract that. Good. Now let's pick it up again. All right, it wants to lean back, so we're gonna push it forward just a little bit. Great. Now we got lucky here. The gimbal doesn't want to lean to the right or to the left. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna set it off balance, and I'm gonna show you what I mean. Okay, now the gimbal wants to lean over to the left. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna counteract that by pushing the whole system to the right. Again, this is a trial and error process. You wanna do it until it's all centered. Awesome. Now our system looks like it's balanced. Now before we start balancing the gimbal, let's do the drop time test. And basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna time out this whole entire rig going from the horizontal position to the vertical position. It should only take about 2.5 seconds to 3 seconds to make sure that this rig is properly balanced. So this is exactly what I'm gonna do. Put it in horizontal position and let's time it going into the vertical position. Ready, let go in 3, 2, 1. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. So a little bit more than 3 seconds. So what that means is that there's not enough weight to the bottom because we want it to swing down. We want it to be upright like this. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add some more leverage by extending the telescopic boom post just a little bit, and that should do the trick. Again, you can either add physical weight or just extending that pole. And yes, I know my camera lens cap is on there, and we'll deal with that later. Ready to let go in 3, 2, 1. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. That's about perfect. Okay, now let's balance the gimbal. I'm gonna remove the lens cap here. Shouldn't cause too many problems with balancing. Maybe a little bit, I can lean it forward just a little bit. There we go. Now we balance the gimbal, loosen up the axis locks, and just balance it the way you regularly would. And I have a full tutorial on how to properly balance the gimbal right here. If you don't want to watch that, I'll show you how to quickly do it right now. So as you can see, the gimbal is leaning back. Loosen up the plate, push it forward until it wants to stay centered. Then lock up the quick plate. Now put the camera in a vertical position and do the secondary tilt adjustment. Up or down. You want the camera to remain pointing up without the help of your hands. Just like that, lock it up, check the tilt one more time, and make any other subtle adjustments. Always use 2 hands. Now unlock the roll axis, and let's balance that. You see how the gimbal leans over to the right? Let's push it over to the left to counteract that. Now let's balance the pan axis. Pick up your whole rig, lean it over to the side. If it swings around, then you have to adjust the pan adjustment by pushing it forward or backward until it stops swinging. Again, I did a full tutorial on how to balance your gimbal right up here, so make sure you check it out. And there you go, my friends. Everything is looking absolutely beautiful. You can see how smooth everything is with this rig. I mean, you can go into very low angle shots seamlessly just by doing a subtle tilt with the whole rig. And notice when I pan, I'm tapping the gimbal on the manual stabilizer. If I were to grab it like this, you would be basically rendering this gimbal useless. And that's not what we want to do. We want everything to work in harmony together. So let's say you want to do a tilt down or a tilt up. Grab the pole on the bottom just a little bit lightly. You don't have to tap as much. And you're going to get a smooth tilt down, or you can let it do the work for you on the tilt up. Just make sure that you constantly have some sort of control over it so it doesn't swing around. When it comes down to shooting modes on the gimbal, either have it in pan follow or full follow mode because that's how you get the most stability and control out of this whole entire rig. Don't forget, I'm gonna leave some links in the description box below where you can pick up this equipment that I'm using right now. So go ahead and check that out, and I'll see you in another video. Peace.